Hello, this is Professor Urbis White. Today we will learn how to multiply polynomials. Let's see how that works out. Multiplying by a monomial. I'll just start with the most tricky monomial. This one is going to be a -1. You're not going to see -1 in there necessarily. They will usually put a negative and then parentheses. Just always know that there's a -1 times. And you're going to use the distributive property. Okay, here we go. -1 times 3 is -3. Leave the variable part alone. -1 times -2, that's +2. -1 times +4, that's -4. -1 times -1, that's +1. Okay, now let's do one that has more than a number in front of it. So you have 2x squared. That's multiplying all these guys. Okay? Now, when you multiply, you have to kind of multiply the numbers and the variables separately. 2 times 3, that's going to give you 6. And x squared and x cubed, you add the exponents, that's going to give you 5. How about the second one? Positive, negative, so that's a negative. 2 times 2 is 4. You have an x2 and an x2, you add the exponents, that's x to the 4th. The next one, multiply the numbers, 2 times 4, that's 8. And you have x squared, and there's a hidden 1 in here. 2 plus 1, that's 3. And the last one, 2x squared minus 1, that's going to give you a -2. And there's nothing in here, and the answer is -2x to the second power. Did we do this right? I think we did. Okay, again, we are multiplying by a monomial. I'm making it harder and harder each time. We are going to FOIL. The first one, 4 times 3, that's 12. Guess what? There is a hidden 1 in here. You're going to always add these guys to it. Hidden 1 in here. Okay, and there's nothing. It's a 0. So, 12, x to the 1 plus 3, that's 4. Y to the, here's a 2. Guess what? There is a hidden 1 in here. 2 plus 1, that's 3. That's the first term. Let's go to the next one. 2 times 4, that's 8. X to the, what do I have? 1 plus 2, that's 3. There's no y, so you just write that one y. Very good. Then I multiply the third one. So we did the first one and the second one. Now we're going to do the third one. 4 times 4, that's 16. X to the, you have 1 plus 1, that's 2. And then you have a y. You have a 2 and a 2, that's 4. And the last one, -1, all you have to do is just 4 times -1, that's -4. And you have an x and a y squared. All right. This is multiplying by a monomial. Multiply by a binomial. I'm going to do some special cases. This guy, x plus 1 times x minus 1. I'm going to show you the foiling. This is used for binomial multiplication. F stands for first, and O stands for outside. I stands for inside, and L stands for last. Okay? So let's do the F term. X times x, that's x squared. O is x times -1, that's -x. I is 1 times x is positive x. And 1 times -1, -1. And guess what happens? You'll have x squared minus 1. That's a special case. where you kind of got rid of the middle term. They canceled out. Let's FOIL the next one. First, x squared. O outer, that's negative 3x. Then inner, plus 2x. And last, that's negative 6. You go and you group the middle term. So you have x squared, negative 3 plus 2, that's negative 1, minus 6. Okay, next one, binomials. First, x times x, x squared. Outer, negative 3 times x, negative 3x. Inner, negative 1 times x, negative x. Last, negative 1 times negative 3, that's positive 3. Combine the middle terms, x squared, negative 3, negative 1, that's negative 4, plus 3. The last one, FOIL. First one with first one, x squared. Outside, negative 3x. Inside, plus 4x. Last, negative 12. Group the middle terms, x squared. Negative 3 plus x, that's positive 1. I don't have to write the 1. And the last one is negative 12. This is binomial by a binomial. We're making it harder. We are going to FOIL each time. Here you go. Let's do it faster. 2 times 3, that's 6. X times x is x squared. Outer. 2 times 2 is 4. And now you have an x extra. 3 times 3 is 9. And you have an x extra. 3 times 2, that's 6. Combine the middle terms. 6x squared. 4 plus 9, that's 13, plus 6. The next one, 2 times 3, that's 6x squared. Outside, 2 times negative 4, negative 8. Inside, 3 times 3, positive 9. 3 times negative 4, negative 12. Combine the middle terms. 6x squared. Plus 1x, which is x, minus 12. All right. First term, 2 times 3, 6, x squared. 2 times 4, that's 8x. Negative 9x. And this one, negative 3 plus 4, that's negative 12. Combine the middle terms. 6x squared. Plus x minus 12. Now I'm going to go over them, and you're going to see some patterns here. The first one, 3 times 2, 6x squared. That one is negative 5x. This one is negative 8x. And this one is positive 20. Combine the middle term. 6x squared, negative 13x plus 20. Let's go back and figure out some patterns. When I FOILed a binomial by a binomial, the first term always ended up being this times this. Do you see that? That's the f term. And the last term always ended up this times that. Okay. Hold on. This one is a special case. The last term is this one and this one. Okay, here you go. So this one ended up 2 times 3, 6, and this one is 3 times 2, that's 6. The middle term always ended up the multiplication of these two plus multiplication of that 2. So 3 times 3, that's 9, plus 2 times 2, that's 4. 9 plus 4 is 13. Now you can, to get some speed, you can actually start doing that. And when it was the positive, it was additive. Let's look at the next one. The next one had a positive and a negative. So the first one ended up as 6x squared. That's a given. The last one is 3 times negative 4. So one of them was negative, so I ended up with a negative number. Well, look at the middle term. That one is 3 times 3, which is 9, minus 2 times 4, which is 8. 9 minus 8, that's 1. So you can do it a little bit faster. So these two terms and these two terms multiplied and subtracted. Let's do this one. 2 times 3 is 6. Negative 3, positive 4, that's negative 12. Let's look at these two. That one's negative 9, and this one is positive 8. And let's see, did I do that wrong? This one is negative 9, positive 8. Yes, I did that one wrong. So let's correct that. Plus 8x minus 9x, that's going to give you not positive x, but a negative x. So you can actually go back and check your work, make sure that you didn't make a mistake. So this one is negative 9 plus 8, negative 1, which is that one. Let's go and do the last one. 3 times 2, 6. Negative 4 times negative 5, that's positive 20. So let's look at the middle term. That one is negative 8, and this one is negative 15. Oh, I did that one wrong too. No. Okay, negative 8. Okay, I did that one wrong. So let's multiply 3x and 5. That one is negative 15. Negative 15 minus 8, that's negative 23. Here we go. I must be going too fast. All right, 3x times 2x, 6x squared, minus 15x minus 8x plus 20. Here we go. Okay, very good. Okay, so let's do some special cases. This one is the same as x plus 1 squared. Let's see how it works. The first term is x squared. The outer term is x. Inner term is x. And the last term is 1. And combine the middle terms, x squared plus 2x plus 1. Look how this works. And this one is a special case. The first one ends up being the square of the first term. Last one ends up being the square of the last term. And the middle term is going to be 2 times first and last because they are identical. Let's do this one. X minus 1 squared. Let's do it foiling. X times x, negative x, plus 1. Combine the middle terms, x squared minus 2x plus 1. This one is the square of the first. This one is square of the last. And the middle term, now I have minuses. It's 2 times first and last. Well, can I shortcut here? You can also do it by foiling. First one squared is 4x squared. I'm shortcutting. Last one squared is 25. What was the middle term? Twice, first and last. First is 2x. Last is 5. Look, I shortcut. 4x squared plus 4 times 5, 20x, plus 25. That's pretty good. Okay? Let's do it the same way. Now, this one has a negative, so this is going to have a negative term. First one squared is 9x squared. Last one squared is 49. Middle term, twice, first and last. First is 3x. Last is 7. Now, what do I have? 9x squared. This one is 2 times 3 is 6 times 7. That's 42. And the last one is 49. So, if you're not comfortable with shortcutting things, still do it the foiling way. But if you're comfortable, you can start shortcutting. All right. How about some special cases? You have plus and minus, plus and minus. How does that foil out? First term is x squared. This one is negative x. This one is positive x. Last term is negative 1. What happens is that these two will go. You end up with x squared minus 1. Okay? So how does that work? So the first one squared minus last one squared. So let's try to do this one. I'm going to do it a little bit faster. The first one squared is 4x squared. And since it's plus minus, this last one squared, 5 times 5, it's 25. Let's do this one. First one squared, which is 9x squared, minus last one, 7 times 7 is 49. So I don't have to do that, scratching out the middle terms deal. Now, how do I FOIL like a binomial with a trinomial? You do it exactly the same way you did before. You're going to go like this. First one, that will go into everything. So let's write that one. X squared and x squared, that's x to the fourth. X squared minus 2x, that's negative 2x cubed, because there is a middle 1 in here. 2 plus 1 is 3. X squared times 3, that's 3x squared. That'll take care of the blues. Now I'm going to do this one. So this one is 1 times x squared, which is x squared. 1 times negative 2, which is negative 2x. And the last one is 1 times 3, that's 3. Last step is you're going to go and group the like terms. So I have an x to the fourth. X cubed. Do I have any other x cubed? I don't. Do I have x squares? Yes, I do. 3 plus 1, that's 2. That takes care of these two. And then I have a negative 2x and a 3. Okay. Let's do this one again. I'll do it with colors and let's see how you guys do. This is the first one. So 2 and 3, that's 6. There's a 1 here, so that's going to be x to the 3 plus 1, that's 4. 2x times 2x squared, so that's 4. X to the 2 plus 1, that's 3. 2x times, there's a hidden 1 in here, negative 2x to the 1 plus 1, that's 2. And the last one, 2 times negative 1, that's negative 2x. Now let's do the reds. Negative 3 times 3, so that's negative 9x cubed. The next one, negative 3 times positive 2, that's negative 6x squared. Negative 3 times negative x, that's positive 3x. Last one, negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. You're going to go and combine the like terms. This is the only fourth one. I have an x cubed and another x cubed. 4 minus 9, that's negative 5. I have a negative x squared, negative 6x squared, so that's negative 8x squared. I have a negative 2 and plus 3, that's positive 1. And this guy is odd man out. All right. Now I'm going to just summarize the special cases so that you have the formula. This is for foiling the binomials. Remember, the first one was a plus b times a plus b, which is a plus b squared. And I foiled that several times. That one is first one squared, last one squared. Middle term is twice first and last. Memorize this formula. It will give you a lot of speed. I'll give an example. 2x minus 5. Let's do plus. 2x plus 5. First one squared is 4x squared. Last one squared is 25. Middle term is twice first, which is 2x, times last, which is 5. Make it pretty. 4x squared plus 4 times 5, that's 20, plus 25. Okay, the special cases, we are continuing. The second one, a minus b times a minus b. which is a minus b squared. We did a couple of examples. First one squared, last one squared. Middle term, this one is -2, first and last. Let me do an example. 3x plus 1, minus 1, 3x minus 1. This one is minus 1. Okay. How does that work? First one squared, 3x squared is 9x squared. Last one squared is 1. Middle term, minus 2. First term, 3x. Last term, 1. Make it pretty. 9x squared minus 6x plus 1. Okay. The last one, special cases. One positive, one negative. Remember how it was? When you have a positive and a negative, you'll end up with first one squared minus last one squared. We did a bunch of examples, so go back to them. So let's do one. For example, you have 2x plus 3 times 2x minus 3. First one squared, which is 4x squared. Last one squared is 9. And guess what? You have a negative in the middle. So when you understand foiling and multiplying polynomials, you'll actually do way better in factoring. And this is the end of multiplying polynomials.